UFER, or underground footing electrode rod, is a type of grounding system that uses a building's concrete foundation as an electrode. It usually consists of rebar or copper rods embedded within the concrete footings. These are then connected to the building's electrical system. To connect to a UFER, you will need specific materials. Firstly, a copper conductor, typically 8 American wire gauge or larger. Secondly, a ground clamp, and thirdly, a ground rod driver if the UFER is not exposed. The steps involve several key actions. 1. Locate the UFER. It's typically found in the concrete footings around the building's perimeter. Note that it may be exposed or buried. 2. If the UFER is buried, you'll need to expose it. Use a ground rod driver to drive a grounding rod into the soil near the UFER to create a temporary ground connection. 3. Connect the copper conductor. Attach one end of the copper conductor to the grounding rod or the exposed UFER using a ground clamp to ensure a secure connection. 4. Run the conductor to the electrical panel. Route the other end of the copper conductor through a non-metallic conduit or directly into the electrical panel. 5. Connect to the ground bus. Inside the electrical panel, connect the copper conductor to the ground bus or grounding bar. This step completes the connection between the UFER and the electrical system. Important considerations include ensuring the UFER is continuous and extends around the entire perimeter of the building. The copper conductor used for the connection should be sized according to local electrical codes. If the UFER is not exposed, use a corrosion-resistant copper conductor to prevent moisture damage. It's always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician for proper installation and to ensure compliance with local code requirements. A UFER is a grounding electrode encased within the concrete foundation of a building or structure. It provides a low impedance path to earth, enhancing the safety and effectiveness of the grounding system. The primary purpose of a UFER is to offer a reliable and stable grounding connection. By embedding the electrode within the concrete, it achieves a large surface area contact with the earth, reducing resistance and improving the dissipation of fault currents. This is particularly important for minimizing the risk of electrical shock and protecting sensitive electronic equipment from damage due to voltage surges or ground faults. The National Electrical Code (NEC) specifically addresses the use of UFERs as grounding electrodes. Section 250.52 A3 of the NEC outlines the requirements for UFERs, specifying that there must be at least 20 feet (6.1 meters) of bare copper conductor not smaller than 4 American wire gauge or steel reinforcing bar or rod, encased by at least 2 inches (50.8 millimeters) of concrete. The concrete must be in direct contact with the earth. Several key components are involved in a UFER grounding system. Firstly, the grounding electrode itself, which typically consists of either a bar or a bare copper conductor. Secondly, the concrete encasement, which provides the necessary contact with the earth and protects the electrode from corrosion. Thirdly, the grounding electrode conductor, which connects the UFER to the building's electrical system. And lastly, the ground bus or grounding bar within the electrical panel, where the grounding electrode conductor terminates. The installation process for a UFER involves several critical steps. 1. The grounding electrode, whether it's rebar or a bare copper conductor, is installed within the concrete form before the concrete is poured. It must meet the NEC requirements for length, size, and encasement. 2. The concrete is poured, ensuring that the electrode is fully encased and in direct contact with the earth. 3. Once the concrete has cured, the grounding electrode conductor is connected to the UFER using appropriate connectors and methods. 4. The grounding electrode conductor is then run to the building's electrical panel and connected to the ground bus or grounding bar. 5. The entire system is inspected and tested to ensure compliance with the NEC and local electrical codes. When selecting materials for a UFER, several factors should be considered. Firstly, the type of grounding electrode, whether to use rebar or bare copper conductor. Secondly, the size and length of the electrode, which must meet NEC requirements. Thirdly, the type of connectors and grounding electrode conductor to use, ensuring compatibility and corrosion resistance. And lastly, the quality of the concrete, which should be suitable for direct contact with the earth. Common problems and solutions associated with UFERs include corrosion of the grounding electrode. To prevent this, use corrosion-resistant materials and ensure proper encasement in concrete. Another issue is inadequate contact with the earth. Ensure the concrete is in direct contact with the earth and that the electrode is properly sized and installed. Additionally, there could be improper connections. Use appropriate connectors and methods to ensure a secure and reliable connection between the grounding electrode and the grounding electrode conductor. Regular inspection and testing are essential to ensure the continued effectiveness of the UFER. Visual inspections can identify signs of corrosion or damage, while electrical testing can verify the continuity and resistance of the grounding system. Any issues identified should be promptly addressed to maintain the integrity of the grounding system. In summary, a UFER is a vital component of a building's grounding system, providing a reliable and stable connection to earth. Proper installation, material selection, and maintenance are essential to ensure its effectiveness and compliance with the electrical codes. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended to ensure the UFER is properly installed and maintained. The NEC provides specific guidelines for UFER installation, as outlined in Section 250.52a3. This section specifies that the UFER must consist of at least 20 feet (6.1 meters) of bare copper conductor not smaller than 4 American wire gauge or steel reinforcing bar or rod, encased by at least 2 inches (50.8 millimeters) of concrete. The concrete must be in direct contact with the earth. Additionally, the NEC requires that the UFER be supplemented by an additional electrode, such as a ground rod or ground ring, to ensure redundancy and reliability in the grounding system. This is particularly important in areas with poor soil conductivity or high lightning activity. The grounding electrode conductor, which connects the UFER to the building's electrical system, must be sized according to NEC Table 250.66. based on the size of the service entrance conductors. The grounding electrode conductor must be securely connected to the UFER using appropriate connectors and methods, such as exothermic welding or listed grounding clamps. The connection must be accessible for inspection and testing. In addition to the NEC requirements, local electrical codes may have additional requirements for UFER installation. It's important to consult with the local electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Proper maintenance of a UFER involves periodic inspection and testing to ensure its continued effectiveness. Visual inspections can identify signs of corrosion or damage, while electrical testing can verify the continuity and resistance of the grounding system. Any issues identified should be promptly addressed to maintain the integrity of the grounding system. When connecting to a UFER, it's essential to follow proper safety procedures to prevent electrical shock or injury. Always to energize the electrical system before working on any grounding components. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as rubber gloves and safety glasses. Use insulated tools to prevent accidental contact with live electrical conductors. If the UFER is located in a damp or wet environment, take extra precautions to prevent electrical shock. Use ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, to protect against accidental electrocution. In addition to providing a low impedance path to earth for fault currents, UFERs also help to equalize the voltage potential within a building or structure. This can reduce the risk of electrical shock and minimize the effects of voltage surges or ground faults on sensitive electronic equipment. UFERs are particularly effective in mitigating the effects of lightning strikes. By providing a low impedance path to earth, they can help to dissipate the energy of a lightning strike and prevent damage to the building or its contents. In areas with high lightning activity, it's recommended to supplement the UFER with additional lightning protection measures such as lightning rods and surge suppressors. When installing a UFER in new construction, it's important to coordinate with the concrete contractor to ensure that the grounding electrode is properly installed within the concrete form before the concrete is poured. The grounding electrode should be securely fastened to the reinforcing steel or other structural members to prevent it from shifting during the concrete pour. After the concrete has cured, the grounding electrode conductor can be connected to the UFER using appropriate connectors and methods. When retrofitting a UFER into an existing building, it may be necessary to excavate around the foundation to expose the concrete footings. The grounding electrode can then be installed within the concrete using epoxy or other suitable anchoring methods. The grounding electrode conductor can be run to the building's electrical panel through a conduit or other protective raceway. In some cases, it may be necessary to core drill through the foundation wall to provide access for the grounding electrode conductor. This should be done carefully to avoid damaging the structural integrity of the foundation. Before connecting to a UFER, it's important to verify that it meets the requirements of the NEC and local electrical codes. The UFER should be inspected to ensure that it's properly installed and in good condition. The grounding electrode conductor should be sized according to NEC Table 250.66 and securely connected to the UFER using appropriate connectors and methods. The resistance of the grounding system should be measured to ensure that it's within acceptable limits. A low resistance is essential for providing a low impedance path to earth for fault currents. If the resistance is too high, it may be necessary to install additional grounding electrodes or improve the conductivity of the soil. In addition to UFERs, other types of grounding electrodes include ground rods, ground plates, and ground rings. Ground rods are typically driven into the earth vertically and connected to the building's electrical system using a grounding electrode conductor. Ground plates are buried horizontally in the earth and connected to the electrical system in a similar manner. Ground rings consist of a bare copper conductor encircling the building and buried in the earth. Each type of grounding electrode has its advantages and disadvantages depending on the soil conditions and the specific requirements of the electrical system. In some cases, it may be necessary to use a combination of different types of grounding electrodes to achieve the desired level of grounding protection. When selecting a grounding electrode, it's important to consider the soil resistivity. Soil resistivity is a measure of the soil's resistance to the flow of electrical current. Low soil resistivity is desirable for effective grounding as it allows fault currents to dissipate quickly and easily into the earth. In areas with high soil resistivity, it may be necessary to use chemical ground rods or other soil enhancement techniques to improve the conductivity of the soil. Chemical ground rods contain chemicals that leach into the soil, reducing its resistivity and improving the effectiveness of the grounding system. Soil enhancement techniques involve adding conductive materials, such as bentonite clay or groundwater, to the soil to improve its conductivity. When installing a grounding electrode, it's important to avoid underground utilities such as gas lines, water lines, and electrical conduits. Contact the local utility companies before digging to locate any underground utilities in the area. Dig carefully around any underground utilities to avoid damaging them. If you encounter an underground utility, stop digging and contact the utility company for assistance. In addition to providing grounding for the electrical system, UFERs can also be used to provide grounding for electronic equipment, such as computers, servers, and telecommunications equipment. Sensitive electronic equipment is susceptible to damage from voltage surges and ground faults. Grounding the equipment to a UFER can help to protect it from these hazards. The grounding electrode conductor for electronic equipment should be sized according to NEC Table 250.122 and connected to the equipment using appropriate connectors and methods. The equipment should be inspected regularly to ensure that it's properly grounded. In summary, a UFER is an effective means of providing grounding protection for buildings and electronic equipment. Proper installation, material selection, and maintenance are essential to ensure its effectiveness and compliance with electrical codes. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended to ensure that the UFER is properly installed and maintained.